So, Finn McKenty has quit YouTube and now claims that he has no interest in music and that he was just getting all his information off Wikipedia.
No, it's because like I don't really have any interest in music. I was just doing it for the money and I hit my financial goals. And so there's really just no reason for me. Like I don't have to keep doing it. Yeah, I don't have any interest in music at all.
Why not?
I have some thoughts. So first off, I want to say that generally speaking, I try to always take people at their word when they're describing their own experiences, when they're describing their own opinions, etc., etc. If somebody says that they hate music, as far as I'm concerned, they hate music. That said, this claim from Finn McKenty kind of strikes me as cope. I mean, yeah, I have no reason to doubt that he doesn't give a fuck about like fucking Smash Mouth or whatever the fuck he's been talking about lately. But like, if you listen to some of his early deep dives, this is not a Wikipedia level understanding of music.
They weren't the biggest band of this group by any means at the time, but they 100% created the template that bands like Strife and Terror would go on to use for their sound, their looks, their lyrics. Few that I would recommend if you like this kind of thing are Side by Side, Alone in a Crowd, Wide Awake, Crippled Youth, and my personal favorites, Straight Ahead.
This is like the type of knowledge base that can only develop from decades and decades of frantically following these obscure niche musical genres. Furthermore, if you actually listen to this interview in its entirety, he comes off as pretty bitter for somebody who claims to have met all his financial goals.
Smooth-brained, low-vibration people just want some negativity to fucking blurt out their dumb fucking opinions about.
It's also really obvious from just the way he talks about it that mean commenters are something of a sore spot for this guy.
I have a feeling that a lot of people who know me for the music stuff would show up and be idiots, you know, and people on Reddit and Twitter would probably, you know, want to tear me down. So
I'd like to propose my own theory based on nothing more than my own speculative, like between the lines reading of what I know about the guy. I think that Finn McKenty was very passionate about music, but had that passion stripped away from him by the overwhelmingly negative response to some of his spicier takes. I mean, yeah, his black metal video is obviously not very well received, but I am specifically referring to his claim that emo rap is the next genre of rock. So I want to quickly touch on my two biggest impressions of Finn McKenty. Number one, I think he deserves a lot of credit for being the guy willing to address the elephant in the room and tell rock fans what they needed to hear, which is that if you don't let up on the legacy bands and start finding new shit that you actually like, the entire genre may not last another decade.
If you're cool with rock continuing down the path that it's on, then great. Just don't be surprised in like 7 to 10 years from now when the average age of a rock band is 38, teenagers barely know what a guitar is, and a rock band is lucky to draw enough people to fill a bar.
Number two, I think he has the worst case of my own personal opinions and experiences are hard historical fact of anyone I've ever even heard of. Like, no, Finn, death metal did not die in 1997 just because that's when you got bored and stopped listening to it.
And then in 97, 98, the death metal boom was clearly over.
So what this tells me is that in terms of his personal temperament, he combines a willingness to say really bold and controversial things with the confidence that he is right about absolutely everything he says that, when combined, are guaranteed to result in an internet shitstorm. And in my personal opinion, that shitstorm manifested the strongest in response to his videos about how emo rap is the new rock. All she want is payback for the way I always play that shit. And trap metal is the new heavy metal. Basically, his argument here is that these two new genres of rap are actually genres of rock, and you just can't see it because you're not open-minded enough.
And maybe it can be the thing that makes metal relevant again. If, and this is a big if, the metal fans can open their minds a bit and change a few things about the way they think.
If you watch these videos, he actually seems really wide-eyed and excited to talk about this.
This is awesome. And this is what got me excited about music again.
In my opinion, right now, this is the most interesting stuff happening in the rock world, and I'm stoked on it.
Like, he just seems so pumped and energetic and proud to like help usher in this new chapter of music history.
Because anytime there's kids in their bedroom making shit that the old guard hates, that's a sign that something cool is happening that's probably going to make a permanent impact, and you should pay attention.
But instead, the rock and metal fandoms overwhelmingly, unanimously rejected his take on this subject. And I imagine that must have been pretty disappointing and deflating for him. Ever since then, basically his entire output has been just like feel-good, crowd-pleasing retrospectives on popular bands that I have no reason to think that he gives any sort of shit about.
In my opinion, the most interesting thing to happen in the world of alternative music was emo rap and trap metal. And I was excited to talk about it, and I did make a lot of videos about it. But if you notice, I kind of stopped talking about that stuff because whenever I would bring it up, I would get all these negative comments. And honestly, it just really wasn't worth dealing with all the hate I would get from rock fans, which is why I've chosen to focus more on older music. And to be honest, I don't really love that. I feel like I should be covering more new stuff, but it's clear to me that that's just not what my audience wants.
So why did the rock and metal communities always reject emo rap and trap metal? Well, there's not really any way to beat around the bush about this. Emo rap is not rock.
I've been smoking on that loud, baby. I'm trying to make my mama proud, baby.
Perfectly good music, definitely where the energy is, or at least was when he made that video, but it's not rock. Trap metal sometimes sounds like metal, but sometimes it doesn't.
Got bad shit all up in my mind right now. Fucking give me a minute and I'ma let it all out.
It's possible that Finn McKenty just thinks these genres happen to sound like rock to him, but there's no reason anyone else has to take that opinion seriously. And not only does Finn McKenty present these weird logical pretzels to argue that they are,
But actually, it's pretty sonically similar to a lot of modern rock. This could totally be a mid-2000s like mall emo song if you just played it with a full band instead of this like trap kind of arrangement. There's really like nothing rap about it.
he does it in a surprisingly aggressive and condescending way considering the hard sell he's trying to make.
This stuff is rock. There's nothing rap about it. This is just rock. Rock has 808s in it now, so get used to it.
So just a quick reminder that when he says that, he is referring to music that sounds like this.
I've been smoking on that loud, baby.
This stuff is rock. There's nothing rap about it.
All she want is payback for the way I always play that shit.
Well, if that is the future of rock, then I guess I'm not a rock fan anymore. Whenever you have a chance, please let me know what the new term is for music that sounds like this. And yes, I do fully understand and appreciate that words are just man-made and mean whatever people collectively think they mean. The term rock and roll music could just refer to a rare species of salamander off the coast of Ireland, if that's what everyone thought that it meant. But right now, at this moment in time, the term rock refers to a musical genre characterized by live drums, distorted electric guitar, and a rough, gritty, unpolished vocal style. Finn McKenty argues that there have always been, variations on this basic setup. For example, there's been rock that has rapping in it. There's been rock that uses programmed drums. There's been rock that uses samples instead of guitars. And so on. Therefore, there can be music with rapping, drum loops, and samples, and it's still going to communicate rock to the listener. It's classic Chief Wiggum logic.
The legendary Esquilax, a horse with the head of a rabbit and the body of a rabbit.
And I want to be really clear, rock fans can handle a difference of opinion. If Finn McKenty had phrased his argument something like,
there was a time when rock was the authentic expression of youthful rebellion and the spearhead of culturally resonant art, but it's kind of not anymore. While fans of rock were busy being way too focused on decades-old legacy acts and shooting down anything new, other newer genres like emo rap and trap metal came up and just flat out took the spot that rock used to occupy in our culture.
I have no reason to think that he would have gotten as bad a reaction to that. I'm sure a lot of rock fans would not have enjoyed hearing that, but at least it would have had the advantage of, being true. Instead, he insists right to your face that emo rap is just straight up rock music while providing an example that obviously sounds nothing like rock.
It's not rap. It doesn't sound like rap. I mean, listen to this.
He insists that trap metal is primarily guitar driven while providing examples that have no guitars.
And a lot of heavy, djenty guitars.
And then preemptively browbeats you over the possibility that you might disagree.
So what if there aren't quote-unquote real instruments? Deal with it. Metal fans need to get over their weird obsession with quote-unquote real drums.
Fuck you. You do not get to dictate what my musical tastes are, Finn. My aesthetic preference for traditional rock instruments is not a weird obsession. Again, this is not an example of his audience not being able to handle a difference of opinion. This is people not liking it when you piss on their leg and tell them it's raining. And here's the thing. Finn McKenty does not even disagree with my assessment of this. This is how he describes trap metal when he is actively trying to sell you on it.
Combines the best parts of metal, which would be the riffs and the intense vocals, with the best parts of trap, which are just the overall vibe and the fact that it grooves and you can kind of chill to it a little bit because they're not just beating you over the head with blast beats and double bass all the time.
But here's how he describes trap metal when he thinks that his listeners are already into it.
Basically just rap with a bunch of like super distorted screaming.
What would happen if you took rap to the most extreme place you possibly could?
Fact of the matter is, this is not rock, this is rap, which for the record is totally fine. Personally, my own rap sucks phase has been over for a really long time, and I also happen to agree that in terms of creative momentum, pop and rap are kind of on top of the world right now, and deservedly so. There's been a lot of really innovative and cool stuff going on in them, even if I personally don't listen to a huge amount of it. Just don't look me directly in the eyes and say with a completely straight face that this is heavy metal music, and then act like I'm the weirdo for not thinking that it is. Now, incidentally, in the years since this video first aired, a lot of emo rap artists actually have been incorporating rock elements into their music, and personally, I think a lot of it is really cool. But surprise, surprise, Finn McKenty does not approve.
But for whatever reason, the emo rap scene sort of ended up going backwards. Most of these guys stopped making these cool, innovative emo rap songs and started making, in my opinion, kind of generic pop punk. And that pretty much killed my interest in the genre.
See, personally, I think the disconnect here is that Finn McKenty thinks that rock fans share his personal priority that music be new and groundbreaking and revolutionary regardless of the style.
If you've watched my other videos, you know that I love people who just like come out of nowhere, do something shockingly new and different that breaks all the rules and pisses off the gatekeepers.
The reality, however, is that rock fans enjoy rock music. And while I can't speak for everyone, I personally don't care if the artist has long hair and a fucking Morbid Angel shirt. If it doesn't have the musical elements that I am looking for, I'm probably not going to be interested. And again, just to reiterate, these are the examples that he is providing. This is not me cherry picking.
In this case, it's an 8-string playing a gent riff.
So essentially what I observe, how I interpret this whole thing is Finn McKenty starts a YouTube channel to get a name out for himself, talking about a subject that he has an endearingly quirky passion for.
I listened to this thousands of times, especially Morbid Angel, Terrorizer, and Unseen Terror. And by the way, I seem to be the only person on earth who likes Unseen Terror this much.
Then, after getting some success, he gets it into his head that he doesn't want to just be a commentator, he wants to be a tastemaker. So he tries getting, a couple of new fledgling genres off the ground among his followers, and in the process gets maybe a little dickish and overconfident in his ability to influence people.
So what if there aren't quote-unquote real instruments? Deal with it. Just get off your high horses.
But then it turns out people completely reject what he has to offer as a tastemaker. They tell him, we just flat out do not want what you're selling. And it just catches him completely off guard and turns him into this grumpy old curmudgeon.
Smooth-brained, low-vibration people just want some negativity to fucking...
Yeah.
And that just kind of sucks, because, when he's at his best, I think Finn McKenty does have a really valuable perspective to share. He's got this role as just, the stern, strict dad of rock music, telling you to eat your vegetables and lay off the Iron Maiden until you've had an hour of Knocked Loose first. So I mentioned really appreciating him being willing to be the first guy to come along and just rip the Band-Aid off and say, the rock community needs to get its shit together or the genre is going to die. That was already a while ago. In the time between then and now, he's had some other takes on it, which, boy oh boy, I've got some opinions on. But we will get to that later. In the meantime, if someone tries telling you that you are morally obligated to listen to a type of music that you have absolutely no interest in, under threat of social ostracization...
But if you are one of those metal gatekeepers, my suggestion is, don't get left behind.
Make sure that your response is harsh enough to send that person scampering off to miserably slog their way through a podcast interview about how mean you are.
Smooth-brained, low-vibration people just want some negativity to fucking blurt out their dumb fucking opinions about.
Peace out.
Oh, it's galloping away.